you, Bill, for those kind words. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mayor Frawley.
Well, my speech that I prepared at the office and that Kevin Horgan took about half of it.
You can do a better job, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sure. I'd just like to note, though, standing here in that, when I was sitting in the audience in the town of Hamburg with Steve Walters and that, I never thought it'd actually be a reality when they announced Angola is going to be next to me built. So that was terrific, and that someday we'd really do this. 8 years has been a long time. Thousands of calls. I'm not exaggerating. Just tons of calls. Rhonda and Kevin and that stuff, and talking to Bonnie Lockwood, getting information to Brian, okay, and talking to Jim. It's unbelievable. It's a million hoops we jumped through on this. And I've never really thought that we'd actually pull it off. But we did. And how it all started was, and I want to tell you a little story about when we did the site tour. Now, of course, Bill did the site tours too with it. But the site tour, when we were looking for locations and that, and the Village of Angola has always tried to have senior housing for quite a few years. We tried to have it down by Forest Lawn Cemetery, and actually this location here, according to Deputy Mayor Bill Houston, was a site many, many years, probably before I was born, that was considered for senior housing. So one day my wife decided to go out and get a new car. So instead of taking the architect, Bill Long, and Rhonda Frederick in my pickup truck, I said, well, we'll take the car. Well, it was in the fall, and it was probably about 65 degrees. Bill Long had a short-sleeve shirt on. Rhonda was comfortable, with just a little under 70 degrees. So we were driving around the village looking for sites. Well, guess what? I looked in my rearview mirror, and there was another lady in the passenger seat with me. And they're going like this. Oh, sorry. They're going like this. I said, what's the matter? He says, I'm freezing back here. I said, you are? I'll turn the heat up. So I had to heat up to about 90 degrees in the car, and the air conditioning apparently was on, and that particular car had two sets of air conditionings on it, right? One in the ceiling in the back seat, and so I had it 90 degrees, they're freezing to death, and it was unbelievable. And that actually happened. I remember right behind you got bowling alley on Main Street. And we were looking at those sites, but they might not have worked because the Conrail was there with it close to the railroad tracks. So anyway, as we worked around at different sites in that, Bill Houston, Deputy Mayor Bill, mentioned, as Kevin mentioned, okay, about these sites. And Richard Miller, I believe you had your property up for sale at that time, is that correct?
Never was for sale.
Oh, sorry. Well, anyway, Bill and Richard gets along pretty good in that stuff, right? So I said, well, look, you go after Richard, and I'll go talk to Stanley Major over on the other side. So we did that within a couple of days and that stuff, and both homeowners were interested. Now, of course, we dragged out the maps in the village hall, and it really was a relatively big piece of property. It doesn't look that way because there was a lot of trees and everything like that. But it did work out very well, and to get these two sites. And the other thing was, because it's part of the business area on Main Street, Chris, okay, it would work out for our economic development plan under Kathy Cotz's team with Tom Deering and that stuff as part of the business district. So that's why we have the entrance in and out off of North Main Street. So that worked out very well for us in that, and it turned out to be a great site, as some of the speakers have already talked about. The gazebo is right to our right over here, so they can hear the concerts if they don't want to walk over there, and they can go through the entire business community. The other thing that we did was I contacted Reed Petroleum. All right, Reed Petroleum has opened up many grocery stores throughout Western New York, about 51 stores, and now we're going into Pennsylvania. But I contacted their board of directors. We sent down information and pictures and email and that, telling them that I'm not kidding you, they're actually building this thing. So anyway, so they sent some guys out. They've been trying to lease the property out over there, which used to be the old Yellow Goose, which they own the property, Reed Petroleum, and then they decided to open up the grocery store. So the grocery store was directly because of this senior housing project, which worked out not only for this particular project, but for the entire Village of Angola. It was an excellent thing that happened for everyone. The senior housing, as the speaker before me talked about that stuff, is a community within a community. no doubt about it. As I talk to People's Incorporated and that, they actually have all kinds of different programs, because a lot of residents have asked us about that. So it's a great program in that, so that they can communicate with everybody and go to all different activities. And just to end my program is, as People Incorporated know, maybe people in this room don't know, but of course if you see on the news that some of our towns in Erie County are trying to get senior housing in there. Well, I went down to one of our local towns in the South Towns and went to bat for People's Incorporated. Of course, they didn't listen to me, but whatever. Yeah. But anyway, I'll do whatever I can for senior housing. We definitely need more senior housing. I'm part of the baby boomers. Bill Houston says I make too much money to qualify to come into one of these places. But I am part of the 77 million baby boomers that are retiring in this country right now, and we certainly need more of these beautiful senior housing projects. So thank you very much. And, I gotta say one thing. I can't even read off the program. But I just want to go through and thank all the departments, the village departments, the town, where Sussex Health, and the HUD program, Congressman Brian Higgins, all the Erie County representatives and People Incorporated. That was my first part.